Theresa Reid. I'm the chair of the county party. It's so nice to see you all here. I'm going to read the land acknowledgement. Welcome to everybody on Zoom. Hi, everybody on Zoom. It's great to see you. Well, I don't see you, but anyway, great that you're here. Washtenaw County occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ottawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi. The Washtenaw County Democratic Party recognizes historic indigenous communities in Michigan and those who were forcibly removed from their homelands. Washtenaw County occupies land ceded in the 1807 Treaty of Detroit. We further recognize the ongoing relationship of dependence upon and respect for all living beings of earth, sky, and water. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm indigenous sovereignty, history, and experiences. Thank you to the MDP Anishinaabe Caucus for that reminder in that beautiful language. Okay, I'm Theresa Reid. I'm the chair of the party. As I said, welcome to all of you. It is a perfect day to be out distributing voter guides, distributing lit for the MDP, telling people about mivoter.org, our volunteer developed electronic voting guide that fits in your pocket. Pull up mivoter.org on your phone and put in your street address. Thank you, Dirk. And Dirk knows about mivoter, but if you don't know about mivoter.org, pull it up on your phone. Just put in your street address. We do not keep any street addresses, and you will find everybody the party has endorsed for this cycle in ballot order. So you just sit down with your ballot and boom, boom, you can take it into the voting booth. Everybody from Kamala and Tim to your school board. So super, super important. And our volunteers is such an incredible job that the MDP has picked it up. The Michigan Democratic Party has picked it up for their statewide voter guide. So take a look. It's absolutely a fantastic support. We have several new members today, and I just want them to stand and say hi and introduce yourselves real quick. You guys want to start? Oh, wait. Jim's. Thanks, Tom.
Okay, this one's loud.
All right, I'll come around with the mic.
Hello, my name is David Beltzman, and this is our first time participating in this. So
we're so happy you're here today. Yay.
We're very happy to be here. I'm Mary Ann Beltzman, and we're looking forward to getting involved. Thank you. And thank you for the breakfast. I came in hungry.
We're so glad you're here. End of the table.
Oh.
Hi, my name is Trisha Path. I am a local leader in the area and trying to mobilize our members and get involved in every way possible to elect pro-labor candidates.
Yes, we are super pro-labor. Back in the corner back there, Tom. You don't want to say hi?
You're not new?
Oh, you're not new? I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. Lade's not new either, but I didn't know his face either. Okay. And then, no, you're not new? You'd rather not. Okay. Well, welcome anyway. We're super happy to have new people. Always happy to have new people. And all of you old people or young, experienced people, say hi. Okay. To everybody. Make them feel welcome. Board members, stand up, raise your hands, please. This executive board works so hard. Today is the day. Thank you to everybody. Today is the day that we're finally distributing voter guides, our print version. Sharon, Janet, do you have one handy that you can hold up? Okay. Great. Can we hand any out to this group? Okay. That'd be great. This is our print version of the voter guide. We started out with this in 2016. And over the cycles, our volunteers have developed an electronic version, which is mivoter.org, and is incredibly useful. So this is very cool. So the reason you need a voter guide is because, you know, we all vote straight Dem, but when you vote straight Dem, you don't get the Supreme Court. You don't get any of the judges. You don't get many of the township boards. You don't get the school boards. And so, you know, I personally, before I got involved with the WCDP, frequently left those blank because I didn't want to do any harm, but that's not good. So that's why we have the voter guide, and those races that are nonpartisan are called down ballot. And we have, with the voter guide, we have cut down ballot drop off in half since 2016. So that is a huge, huge thing. Down ballot drop off. People don't vote. Like I didn't vote on those lower races because I didn't know who to vote for. So, so now you do. Okay. You guys, everybody who's regular here, what have I forgotten to mention? Anything? This is an organizing meeting. So mostly we're going to equip you to get out and work today. I know some of you came to find out what you need to do. In the meantime, we do have a comment from an explanation from our county prosecutor, Eli Savit. Eli has been asked to comment on, do something about some vandalism in Dexter. Repeated incidents of vandalism. Oh, by the way, I want to say thank you to Rayanne for the donuts from Washington Dairy. Thank you, Rayanne. Yay! And to Eli, where's Eli? For all the other great food. And to honestly, everybody on this board does so much, and all volunteers, we just do so much work. So thank you to everybody. Anyway, Ellie, I'm sorry. Ellie, are you there? Are you handy? Is Ellie handy?
I'm here.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
great. Yeah, we can. Just as well. Why don't you explain? You go ahead and explain. I don't need to preamble. Right? Go.
Okay, sure. So first of all, apologies, I can't be there in person. I'm at the annual domestic violence 5K out at Park Ridge Park in Ypsilanti. So if you hear the music in the background, that's what's going on there. I do want to remind everybody, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And before I get into what was invited to talk about today, I'll just note that Democrats have made great strides in keeping domestic violence victims safe, including our state legislature passing extreme risk protection orders, as well as prohibiting those convicted of domestic violence from owning a firearm for 7 years. So as they're distributing the voter guides, that's a little bit more motivation there. Taking off my sort of capital D Democratic hat, putting on, prosecutor hat, do want to give an update about, a disturbing incident out in the Dexter area that we have filed criminal charges on. I will start by saying that charges are allegations only, and defendants are presumed innocent until unless proven guilty. That is something ethically that's important to emphasize. But the allegations in this case are that a man out in the Dexter area had been for looks like several weeks throwing trash on the lawns of neighbors with Harris-Walz signs, and it escalated to throwing nails on neighbors' driveways, which ended in at least one resident's tire being punctured. Law enforcement did investigate. I know they're continuing to investigate because there's multiple homes that were targeted. The one that we got in, the charge request that we got in, involved the punctured tire. And we did file charges this week for malicious destruction of property, as well as criminal littering, which is a charge that you don't see very frequently, but that basically is something that covers the act of throwing unwanted debris and refuse on somebody else's private property. So those are the charges that the evidence supported. Those are the charges that we filed. And I just want to emphasize, of course, this was somebody that was apparently targeting Democratic voters, Democratic supporters. But just to be abundantly clear, we would have filed the same charges in the exact same way if it was the opposite. There is no tolerance in our office, or I know among law enforcement in this county, for anybody to engage in any sort of destructive acts aimed at somebody else because of their political views. And I do want to take this opportunity to note that as Election Day is coming up, voter intimidation, any attempt to dissuade voters from voting at the polls through menace or any other means, that is a crime. And if we receive evidence that demonstrates that somebody committed that crime, we will not hesitate to prosecute. So that's what I can say about these cases so far. I'm happy to answer any questions about any of that. Or if not, I'll turn it over to somebody else and get back to this domestic violence war.
Thanks, Eli. Oh, am I on? Okay. Thanks, Eli. We appreciate it. Actually, Debbie Dingell just joined. Can we
All right.
Thanks.
Debbie.
Hello there. Good morning, everybody. I was with Eli an hour ago and I've already unfortunately been to the viewing of a funeral. So it's been one of those very hard mornings. I wish I could be with you, but I am out and about. But I want to say to everybody, I love you guys. I feel like I'm the luckiest woman in the world to live with you all and be part of the Washtenaw Dems. And I want to say to you, this election is not won yet. I am worried. I'm going to tell you that right now. Last week when I asked, I told people that Kamala Harris hasn't won, Donald Trump hasn't won. And as I am out and about, and you know, I am out and about right now, it's tight. Michigan, I always said it was going to be purple, but I'm not quite sure. I thought it would be this purple. Now, at this point, I thought Donald Trump was going to win, and I told you that in 2016, but we've got to just roll up our sleeves. We have got to turn out the votes. I think everybody should feel very proud here that the Ann Arbor, our Washtenaw Dems are responsible for 30% of the state, the contacts, voter contacts, be it door or telephone, in the state. And that Ann Arbor office on State Street is humming. And I actually tried, you won't appreciate this, but I wanted to have Gwen come another day when I could be there, and Ed said no, because Gwen's a really, some have said we have to bring people like that to that office, because when they come, we get the highest number of volunteers and we get double, triple, quadruple the number of canvases, voter contacts from that office than it does anywhere else in the state. So people really, really need to feel good about the energy, the enthusiasm and the work that we are doing. And I think you will see more guests like that do canvas launches. We are hoping to have a big rally at the end in our area, and we've got to do that. But our work is really cut out. And just to get your attention, Donald Trump tried to find a site to do an event last Thursday in the Ipsy Township area. Places were booked and places wouldn't take them. But I know of 3 places that got phone calls. So they're targeting. And you know, many of you have talked to me about the mail that you've gotten. So I love everybody. I think we've got the strongest organization there is in the state. We know what we got to do. The 6th district has more votes than anybody. We've got these state house seats. Jamie Churches downriver in the 6th, part of all of us, is probably the most vulnerable, but Reggie and Jennifer Conlon and Matt Colzar. And we got to win the Jackson seat. If we can win that Jackson seat back, we got to. So 34 days, who's counting? I am. 32 days, I'm sorry. But we need you. I love you. I'm around. I'm not going back to Washington until after the election. I'm trying to go everywhere. And I just thank you for all the hard work you're doing, because the future of democracy is at stake right now. Anybody got
Debbie.
questions? Happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. We love you back. We have a candidate over here, Letitia. Do you want to come up and say hi? I mean, we have several candidates, but Letitia is new to us, some of us. And Jeff, we have our state senator, Jeff Irwin. You want to come up and say anything and galvanize and energize?
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay. One thing I'm learning is that my days are not all mine anymore. I'm popping around. So we've already been out to Dexter and then here, and then we have a couple of more events. But my name is Letitia Lamel Sharp, and I am the candidate for county treasurer. I have been in Washington County. I've worked in Washington County for 35 years. My background includes finance, policy, and human resources is what my background is over that time. I have served in 5 departments throughout the county to include county administration, human resources, public defender, and I've done some work directly with the county treasurer, Catherine McCleary, who is supporting me. I'm preaching to the choir, but we all know what we heard Debbie say, and what I've heard everywhere I've gone is that our work is not over. We have to do more than what we get planned to do before. Every rally, every conversation I have, I do a podcast on WHPR TV 13 in Highland Park. And we were talking yesterday about all the things that we can do. Everything that we're doing now, we have to double it, times it, because we cannot sleep until November 6th. So please remember me, Letitia Lamel Sharp. I just had some very kind of weird conversation over Dexter about some residents are feeling like straight party ticket is not the answer. And so they were talking about going down each candidate. And I think that for that reason, we cannot take anything for granted, and we have to support all of our Democratic candidates, because to support one and not the other just makes it hard for the one that gets in. So thank you all, and thank you for this time. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Letitia. Want to say something, Jeff? And then Crystal, if you want to say a word about your race, you can come right on up. And anybody else who wants to say a word.
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to pop by and say hello and say hi to so many friends. It's great to see so many familiar faces. And I wanted to thank you for all the work that I know you're doing out there. I've seen many of you out there, at canvas launches and things like that. I can tell you, I'm hearing from all my colleagues about, how we need to focus on some of those state house races here in Washtenaw that Representative Dingell was talking about. And so, I want to thank you for all the work you're doing. And I guess I want to do one of the same things that Congresswoman Dingell was doing, was to share with you, is that as I go around the state, it feels very different elsewhere than it does here in Washtenaw County. And, our mission here is to run up the score, but I think my mission right here, right now, is to share with you the same sort of concern and fear that I think I heard from Congresswoman Dingell about the situation we're in. There's been some decent polling results the last couple days. I know that when I'm out here in Washtenaw County, I get a ton of positive response, and that's great, and that keeps us going. And we need to run up the score here. But I want to share with you that when you go elsewhere around the state, it doesn't feel the same way. That same nasty energy that Trump propels in 2016, in 2020, in the White House is out there in the communities. And so we need to do everything we can to reach out to people outside of the walls of Washington County or inside, folks who might be wavering on Kamala Harris for one reason or another, folks who might be enchanted by Trump's vision of power and his strongman image. Those folks, we need to reach out to them, because every one of us has folks like that in our family who we can either encourage to see that he is a liar and a con man, or who maybe we can encourage them to see that Kamala Harris is a decent person who's going to do a good job, who has a strong character, who has good experience, and who's done some good things along the way. People need to hear that, because there's a lot of folks who aren't connected to politics like we are. The thing I want to leave you with is just a little taste as to why this matters. And I know you all know that, you wouldn't be here if you didn't, but last week, we met in the state legislature, and because of the very narrow Democratic majority that we have in the state legislature, we were able to pass a bunch of bills. I passed 3 bills of my own. Back when I served 10 years in the minority, that never happened. For instance, we passed a piece of legislation that says that poor people can't be discriminated against in housing. So folks who have housing choice vouchers or Section 8 vouchers currently are often turned away from opportunities to rent an apartment. And so we passed a law that says, no, there's going to be no discrimination based on source of income in Michigan, empowering all of us and the Fair Housing Center and others to try to protect people who need a decent place to live and need a decent place for their kids to live. We also passed some legislation I've been working on for many years to improve literacy by pushing a phonics emphasis in the science of reading into early grades. Yeah, thank you. This is something we've been working on for a long, long time. And for whatever reason, even though we had a lot of bipartisan support, we couldn't get it done with Republicans in power. But with Democrats in power, people like myself and others were able to, and some of you are in this room, were able to reach out to our leadership and our governor and to inspire them to understand that teaching kids how to read in a better and more effective way is very, very important to the state of Michigan. So these are the important, serious things that we can do when Democrats have power. And the Republicans are deeply unserious, fundamentally racist. Their brand depends on separating us from people who look different than us. And it's wrong. So thank you for being some of the folks who get out there all the time and spread that message and tell people what they need to hear. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to represent you. And yeah, I just wanted to come and rah-rah a little bit. How many people were up in Flint yesterday? That was pretty exciting. I had a chance to go up there and my kids are really excited about it. It was really great to see their excitement as well. And so that was a great event and thank you for the opportunity.
Great, thank you. I think Jeff has a question.
Grab the mic here. Just, do you have a sense for the Detroit area? And
Well,
how things are
when you
going
say
there? I know
Detroit
it's very
area,
big.
I don't really know what you mean. If I think of the city of Detroit, I don't really know what's going on in the city. I hope that there's a robust, active ground game there. I really don't know. I've heard from some of my colleagues, frankly, that, they're concerned about that. But when you talk to legislators, we're always concerned about what's going on and how do we get more organizing and how can we get more volunteers. When you think of the broader Detroit metro area, there's one race that I know Congressman Dingell is concerned about that is absolutely critical, which is in the downriver area. There's a state rep seat that's currently held by a Democrat named Jamie Churches. Jamie Churches is one of the best members in the state house and does a really great job. Really thoughtful, smart, former teacher, and is willing to actually take a stand on Democratic issues, which I really appreciate about her. And she's in a really tough race because, as you can imagine, downriver is the sort of place where Democrats are having a harder and harder time. Downriver in Macomb is sliding away from us when you look at the whole region. Oakland County is moving towards us. Western Wayne's a bit of a mixed bag, but mostly moving towards us. And so that's kind of the broad outlook of Metro Detroit and what's happening as I see it. I think there's one more if you want me to take.
I have just a question about, my concern is about Dearborn and how many people are not going to vote in Dearborn at all. Have you heard anything about that?
I don't know anything other than what I've told the Biden campaign and what I've told the Harris campaign when they've asked me, which is that you need to get out there. You need to get out there. You need to get your teams out there. You need to get the principals out there. You need to sit down with people who are upset about how our government is funding the death and destruction of their families and their communities. And they need to take that head on. And frankly, I feel that the campaign has sidestepped that for whatever reasons. And I don't know. I was glad that Kamala Harris during the debate said, we need a ceasefire. I thought that was positive. But it sounds like Debbie wants to chime in. All I would say is we need to talk to people who we know who are either from Dearborn or from the Arab American community and listen, understand, and try to give them, our best of why we're still supporting Kamala Harris, even though, I'm personally aggrieved by what's happening in Gaza.
So I'm going to add on to this, if that's okay.
Please.
Look, we all need to take this very seriously. And there are days that I feel like the Mideast war has come to Michigan. And there are members of both communities. Thursday morning, I have been yelled at by everybody by 8 a.m. And the vice president yesterday, while she was in Flint, M. Gage, which is an Arab American group. It's where we talk about Dearborn, but we also need to remember that the 6th district, Canton, Northville, has a very significant Arab American Muslim population as well. MGage endorsed the vice president last week, and a group of MGage members, many from Michigan, some from San Francisco, one from Waleed, who's head of the group, and Gabriel, who I've worked with for years, who's head of the Lebanon, I can't remember the whole name, and Assad Turfi, who's the deputy Wayne County executive, did meet with the vice president. She put out a statement after, and I've been talking to them all morning. So she is meeting with people. She did not meet with the uncommitted, where I'm continuing to work that. Jill Stein's in Dearborn tomorrow and is going to do a rally. I think one of the things that all of us have to do is to really listen and show people we're hearing. Jeff just showed that kind of empathy and compassion. I also want to tell you that I did the Jewish Family Services last Sunday, and there were members of the community who told me that they were so angry over what they've watched between the Attorney General, the Shida, the governor, that they don't think Democrats are reliable and they're voting for Donald Trump. And I attempted to listen and talk about what that really means. I was trying to bring an interfaith service together to stand up to hate in our community, because you've seen the signs, you've seen some disturbing. I think we as Democrats have to show that we are hearing, and everybody's being heard. We have people with families on all sides. I knew the Jawad family who's lost. I knew him that was killed in Lebanon. He was an American, not State Department erroneously said he wasn't an American. Ali Jawad, his uncle, has been one of John's and my closest friends for 40 years. I went to the mosque on Wednesday night. I've never seen people more upset, but I have many friends in the Jewish community that know the hostages, lost people a year ago. We got to find a way to de-escalate the war in the Mideast. I want peace. And, people are telling me, and I'm not giving names, we need more war. We need more people we've got to all work together to show empathy and compassion and try to de-escalate the hate. And I'm going to tell you all right now, I know there are foreign entities that are putting kerosene on our fire, and I believe Ann Arbor is one of their targets, and we have got to push back we got to stand up to the hate.
Thanks, Debbie. Thanks.
Yeah, let me just end by saying what I've been saying at some of the canvassing launches, which is that it's a very scary time. If you're not feeling it, I can tell you I am all around the state. But the thing that is always the antidote for that anxiety is action. And so if you can take action, if you can take more action, I promise you not only will it help us win, it will make you feel better. And if you are looking to financially help any candidates around Washtenaw County, I would encourage you to look at maybe 3 state house races. I would encourage you to look at Reggie Miller's race down in Milan and Van Buren. It's an incredibly tough race. I would encourage you to look at Dan Mahoney's race over in Flint to Chelsea. That's another race that's going to decide the majority in the legislature. They both touch Washtenaw County. They're both going to be very close. And Milan and Chelsea are great places to canvass if you want to do that. And then finally, I would look at Jamie Churches. So if you are looking to support some state house candidates, those are 3 that I would pull out. I think that the majority in the state house is going to flow through those 3 seats. And it's a 1 vote majority right now. So it's going to be close. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Jeff. And anybody who wants to get involved in those races, check out our website, washtenaw-dems.org. Chris, I'm going to go to Jennifer Conlon online first. washtenaw-dems.org, where there are walk opportunities for those races. And also, if you don't find what you're looking for, just write info@Washtenaw-Dems and ask for assistance. Jennifer Conlon, state rep that is mostly Livingston County, but a big chunk of Washtenaw County as well. And Jackson is online and wants to say hi to us as well. Jennifer.
here today, and we're actually launching a canvas right now. I've got my canvassers here. So, yes, I would just agree with what Senator Irwin just said about which races to kind of try to support if you can right now. And Reggie Miller, Daniel Mahoney's race, those are key right now for holding. I feeling spending a lot of time up in Lansing. Obviously, that's the very conservative part of my ticket voter who might not have done that same top of the ticket. So there are a lot of Trump signs up there. We're spending a lot of time. I will say I've had a lot of Republicans say that they're coming over and voting for the Democrats this time just because they are never Trumpers. And I say, look, we welcome you into the party, even if it's just for this period. So I'm encouraged a lot by that. But anyone who wants to help any of those races mentioned before, or if you do want to feel like doing some pretty challenging door knocking, you can join us up in, Howell, Michigan, and Hamburg and Genoa Townships, which is where we're headed today. So would appreciate that.
Thanks, Jen. Good luck. Have fun today.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one more candidate to hear from, and then I want to give you some inspiration, and we're here to get to work.
Good morning. I'm Crystal Lyte. I am running for re-election for the 2nd District, which entails a little bit of Ann Arbor Township, Dexter Township, Northfield, Webster, Little Whitmore Lake, and Superior, Salem. Oh, for County Commissioner. What did I say?
You just didn't say.
Oh, yes, for County Commission. And so I represent in the 2nd District. I am also here to make sure that you know that the whole 9 of the Washtenaw County Board of Commission is running for re-election. Shannon Beeman, she is County Commissioner in Saline, and I believe in Chelsea. So in our rural areas, such as me, more rural but northeast, please make sure that you look to see who your county commissioners are. They are all running. We are all running for re-election. We have so much more to do. I am not going to hold you because we've said a lot, but I have more to say that we'll do later.
Thanks, Crystal. And hey, you guys, if you don't know who your county commissioner is, you're forgiven. But mivoter.org, it is evergreen because you put your street address in there and you get everybody who represents you. Everybody down to school board and their contact information. So if you don't know who's representing you on the county commission, check it out on mivoter.org. Super, super easy. We're here to organize. And everybody has said we need to get out. And I just want to give you a few numbers and a few strategies. So in 2016, the tragic year, we lost Michigan by 11,704 votes. 11,704. Now, Jill Stein took more than that, but that came out to 2.2 votes per precinct. 2.2 votes per precinct. Washtenaw County alone could have made that up a couple times. We had 20,000 people sit out the top of the ticket in 2016 because they were thinking that tragedy could not happen. Well, we know what happened. So we need to get out every single vote. And Jeff mentioned people who may be supporting Trump. There's somebody down my street who has a Trump sign out that freaks me out. But you know what? Even you may, and Eli and I agreed earlier, was like some of them you just can't talk to. That's okay, because the greatest voting bloc in the country is the non-voters, the people who don't vote. And trust me, there's somebody in your life who doesn't vote. My daughter's boyfriend. I just found out that this 28-year-old young white man isn't registered to vote. And you can imagine, I gently read him the Riot Act and showed him mivoter.org. You can find out everything you need to know about how, when, and where to vote and who to vote for. And I said, if you don't vote, it's a vote for Trump. And he's, you know, this sort of like doesn't like, and it's like, the guy next door votes for Trump and you don't vote? You left that vote for Trump on the table. Not okay. You have to vote to protect my daughters and your girlfriend's bodily autonomy. Are you kidding me? So I'm going to check up on that. But, but anyway, you know people who don't vote. There are people you are shocked who don't vote. But you know them, find them and tell them about mivoter.org and get them on the voting rolls and to the polls if you have to walk them to the door. Or just sit down at the kitchen table with them with their absentee ballot. Okay, there's probably so much more to say, but I don't want to say any more right now because Janet Cannon is going to here to tell us she's an A20 ambassador. Come on up. And there's a proposal on the ballot that we have endorsed, the SEU, Sustainable Electric Utility Proposal that we want to hear from Janet about.
Hello. So it seems like a little bit of a detour, but it is on the ballots. But I just want to take a really short minute to run through what that proposal is and how it fits into the A20 program, which does not unfortunately apply to the whole county. It is an Ann Arbor program, but is increasingly getting emulated and giving ideas to other people. So let me pull it up myself because I have my notes. So we have voted to endorse the proposal. How come I'm not able to open it? Is it well, okay, I'll wing it. No, I need my notes. Where are they? Try again. No, just one sec. I'm sure it'll be here. I've got secure connection failed.
The mic for a second while you find it. And okay, is there any other elected or I don't see any other electeds in the room or candidates who want to say anything? Is that you?
That's from Jim.
Oh, that's Jim. Okay.
Next to Google, so
All right.
I'll just walk over. Yes. Maybe use, yeah, use. Oh, yes. Okay, thanks. Yeah, there you go. All right. Here we go. Okay, so can you go back to the first one? Yeah. Okay, that's the motto. Go ahead. While we're getting to the next slide, I just want to mention that all the projections are that no matter how we responded, how well we do on reducing emissions, we are still in for some really, really serious changes. And a lot by 2050, southern part of the United States, many parts will be uninhabitable. Between sea level rise, between just heat, Michigan is going to be a climate destination. We need to be doing everything we can to be ready for a lot of people showing up. The way a lot of the projections show that even Atlanta, for example, is due to get 50,000 new people showing up within, I'm not sure what space of years, I don't remember exactly. But as things get rougher south, they'll be moving further forward. And we won't have that many, but we're not just talking about housing and amenities and infrastructure for the population we're already not serving well enough, but for a lot of people who are going to be showing up. So these kind of things are really, really important to start thinking about. So it's to really get to where we're not generating more carbon than, how would you say, the carbon neutrality. I don't want to try to explain that, but it's the best we can do. It's not zero emissions, but supposedly it's the best we can do. And even that is going to be really hard. So we have to have reductions in all of these different areas. So we're going to talk about as individuals, the options we do have. One of the big ones is electrification. So that URL down there, homes.rewiringamerica.org will help you see in your own particular situation what you can do. Rewiring America is just a great resource. Let's hop along. All right. The first thing that you have access to in Ann Arbor and broadly because of the Inflation Reduction Act and many, many programs that are online now is to get help getting up solar panels. There are group buys, there are rebates. Currently you have Ann Arbor rebates. Very soon you'll have state and other rebates, federal tax rebates. One of my neighbors put up solar panels, the only one in our particular HOA that can do that because our roofs are not strong enough, but she paid the extra $20,000 to put in a beam that's missing in our 1940s roofs. And she got a rebate on that part of it. Still cost her a bundle, but you know, yeah. So we're waiting to find a better solution for the rest of us. Okay, but these will take you a long way toward reaching that magic point where your savings pay for themselves. And the storage battery is really the big thing. We all suffer from power outages. There are rebates on storage batteries. Let's go on. Yeah, and when we get to the SEU, we'll see how that intersects the fact that we can't all afford to do this. So electrifying things like heat pumps are great. However, they're not great unless you weatherize first. You can end up with a bigger bill as long as we have the same kind of electrical generation that we have. Unless you have the panels, they could cost you, but weatherization can make them usable. So this is the time to really think ahead. If my furnace is 14 years old, I'm putting those pennies away and looking into, and I'm starting with the weatherization, which is a program that both Ann Arbor and the county are offering. So I mentioned again, Rewiring America. Let's look at the weatherization project. So there's lots of information on their website, A20 website. So lots of rebates and support for lower income households through both the city and the county. Reducing energy loss is crucial to be electric ready. So that's another thing. We could put some of these, I'll do a really short article for the newsletter with these links in it. So there's a free assessment in Ann Arbor of your home's energy use, but there is a waiting list. The Home Energy Advisor, I've already done mine. It's the crawl space that needs the work. But I was surprised to find that I do have lost through just the duct work, which I thought I had sufficiently sealed, but there's always more. Okay. Outside of Ann Arbor, there's also a great list of contractors. So do our research. So other things to do, I just wanted to very briefly put this in the context. When I first started looking into, actually signed up for the ambassador program thinking, we'll go see what this is really all about. I bet I didn't have a lot of confidence in it. I was very impressed. It's a very, very wide ranging program. The resources are pretty well focused, but they take into account all the different aspects that really make a difference, even such things as native plantings. I had no idea how much of our stormwater capacity to absorb stormwater is improved and how much is actually covered by those big swales of native plantings. So yeah, all of these different things, we're not going to take the time right now to go into it, but it'll be up on the website so people can have a look back at it again. So the SEU, at first it seemed like sort of a what, like a kind of a dreamy kind of idea, but in fact, there are lots of places doing similar things. The exact thing that they want to do is not entirely defined yet because it's pretty technical, but the idea is that how would you say, the investment, they have funds to start, they have starter funds. If they start supporting people to put on panels and to be able to interconnect to their neighbors, for example, if you invest in a battery and maybe the panels and your neighbor is not able to put up the panels, you can be connected to them and it would be the system of how that is shared is super modern computer it's just amazing what can be done on that kind of thing. That allows them to be able to upfront the cost for people who can't afford to be part of the program, but then being paid back by the use. So you're paying, it's fee-based. So basically, it's not a new tax in any way. You can do this individually. There are companies where they will buy the panels, they put them on, then you pay back, you pay your consumption plus money into them. It would be a similar arrangement. We would be little by little ramping up something that builds itself in a sense. Okay, the SEU would buy the needed panels, batteries, and connectors, and it would recoup its investment from the users through the rates. So you would actually have, if you were part of this program, you would have a bill to DTE because it's not going to cover the whole thing. And you would have a bill of what you use through the SEU. Or if you are generating your own electricity with a panel, then you might get a negative bill from them if you're contributing and more than you've used, right? And then the public utility is a whole other question that would allow us all to be in that situation, but it's a long ways off. So that's why I think that I don't see any reason why beginning the SEU would interfere with the later transition to an all over public utility, which is also absolutely necessary, but we got to start somewhere. So this is somewhere we can start. Do I have anything else? I think there's a pretty picture of it. Yeah. So this is how it could work. For example, if you, as we are now, without an outage, you get all your power from DTE, and a few people have their own renewable energy. Those who have a battery can hold out for a while on a power outage. So yeah, when the infrastructure fails, some can keep your lights on. When you have a CEU, most residents would still get their power from DTE and supplement it with the SEU. Some residents are still only getting power from DTE. And when there's an outage, it's sort of cut off down there, but most residents would be able to retain their power by having this dispersed energy. It's not perfect, but I think it's a big step forward. I guess that's it. So I hope everyone will support it. Thank you. That's great.
Okay, so we're out to get some work done. We're out to sign up voters. We've got two big things going on right now, right? You guys too? Sharon, come on up. Crystal, come on up. First of all, if you want to go out and, if you guys are going out to, also, I want to mention that we do have, thanks to Rayanne, we do have signs, the Harris-Walz signs, and we have T-shirts. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Great. Great.
I have to leave early because I need to meet the people that are at farmers market to bring me the money that people have been throwing at them. That's what they've said.
We love that.
Anyway, so I brought some T-shirts. Please take them. Free. The yard signs are $5 a piece. That is just above cost because we want to get them out there. Who can I count on to bring me the leftovers?
Okay. Yeah.
And eat the donuts because they're not going to look good on my body.
You can tell we've already been consuming some. Okay, thank you, Rayanne. Rayanne does so much, an unbelievable amount of work. Rayanne is functionally the office manager for our office. Yes, thank you, Joanne. And I mean, it's kind of incredible how much work that Rayanne does. And I always, every time I introduce Rayanne, I say she's a retired school librarian. So you know where her heart is, and you also know you don't mess with her. She's like super helpful, but don't cross the line. So anyway, she's great. So thank you so much for all that you do. Including again the donuts. So okay, so if you're going to be distributing voter guides, I meant to bring one up, but I didn't. Oh yes, I did. It's under my napkin. If you're distributing voter guides today, you're going to be using a tool called Minivan. The voter access network? Is that what it is? Voter something network. Activation, voter activation network is the big way we keep track of Democratic voters. There's a backstory, but I won't go into it. But anyway, but to deliver these and to find the doors when you're out in the field, we're using minivan now. So a lot of people are bedeviled by minivan. So we're going to give you hands-on lesson about learning about how to use minivan, and Sharon and Janet's you're doing minivan, right? And then
Also just wanted to briefly demonstrate the preferred way to put it on doors. Roll it up and it says voter guide, people see
Yeah.
what it is.
yeah. And people, it's a solid brand. People know what it is and are always very happy to see it. Okay. Did you say, no, okay. Just an offhanded thing. And then we also, and Eli Nathans has really kind of lit the fire under us in terms of getting people on doors in hard to reach areas with a lot of inconsistent voters. So we have a whole great plan that we're coordinating, Sharon and Crystal. And one of the things that we have not been thrilled with this cycle is, or any cycle, frankly, is the scripts that you might be sent out with by the one campaign. They're not engaging. Those of us who have been doing this for a long time know it really matters how you talk to the people you meet. And to go and knock on a door and just hit them with a battery of questions is not a winning strategy. But we know how to talk to people on doors. Sharon and Crystal are both actually just superb at it. So why don't you take the mic now, either one of you, and explain what we're going to do for the rest of the meeting. And this is all GOTV on the ground.
Before I start, I want to put a quick plug in that you can still sign up to help deliver voter guides. Go to our newsletter and there's a link. And if you sign up, they'll put you in. I'm sorry.
You have to hold the mic so it's pointed.
I need to. Okay, I'm sorry. Please sign up to help deliver voter guides. It's not too late. You can sign up and you'll be directed to, go to our website. And they'll connect you with the captain for your area and give you voter guides to deliver. Would be tremendously appreciated. Crystal and I are going to talk a little bit about more effective ways to canvass. And these are methods that can be, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. That can be used in any conversation you're having with a family member, friends, neighbors, and just to more effectively sort of get people to think about their position, to motivate people to go vote, register. And I'd highly recommend, if you have a chance, taking a class in deep canvassing. We can't do it today, but I highly recommend the Deep Canvassing Institute. They do wonderful workshops. And what we're going to do today is use some of their insights to talk about how to have more effective conversations at the door, because deep canvassing has been found to be 4 times as effective as traditional canvassing. And what they've really learned is that people aren't moved by facts, figures, opinions, or talking points. That it's really about, again, sort of connecting with people, sharing of stories and feelings and emotions, which can be easier said than done. And we're going to talk about ways to make it more friendly for both you and the person at the door. And Crystal and I are specifically going to be working on setting up a canvas in Superior Township, but these sort of talking skills can be used in any conversation. You want to talk about Superior and what we'll be doing?
Yep. So Superior is a portion of the district that I commission over, and there are some income-based housing, so predominantly Black residents that have not registered to vote or do not vote, or are just uneducated on just politics in general. And so they're like, oh, it's politics, I don't want to. So in Superior, as I said, there are 2 apartment complexes that are income-based. And then there are other subdivisions. And as you move further north to Superior, it's kind of hard to canvass. And so that's where we rely on mailings and voter guides and things of that sort. But for the areas that we can canvass, I've found it when I'm out and I'm canvassing and I go directly and I'm a person. I'm real. I'm, as Sharon said, I'm not throwing out facts. I am being a real person. Hey, how are you doing? Have you registered to vote? Do you know who's running? How can I best, help you to know what's going on? So asking the questions, being a real person, not saying, oh, I'm this. I never bring up the fact that I'm a county commissioner because that's going to be a whole nother story in itself of saying what it is I actually do, because most people don't know. And so we have to have the real conversations, and people are going to ask. And so we have to be ready. And so that's what some of the executive board, we've come up with conversations, those real conversations and the ways to engage. And so that is what we are going to do. We are going to do a couple of skets or just walkthroughs on the way that we can engage our voters in hard to reach places and get them to register and get them to vote and know the importance of what we are at risk for.
The other thing I wanted to mention too is we're going places that aren't on the van turf lists. So we're going to be teaching folks who come to our breakout session how to use the app Wave, which is a web-based app that you can focus in and identify a neighborhood, and it gives you the names of your voters and their propensity for being both a Democrat and their voting history. Are they inconsistent voters? So we can use that app to identify people that will be most useful to talk to. And we can also tell whether they've received their absentee ballot, whether they've submitted it. So it's an incredibly useful tool that you can also use for your own networks to identify people worthy of a conversation. And you want to talk a little bit about this first? Or yeah, why don't we? I want to give a handout that just gives a few basic points on.
So Sharon is coming around with a few basic points of conversations, while canvassing. And what we're going to do is we're going to break out shortly and we're going to go over how we can have these conversations, how we greet our voters and get them ready to register to vote or engage them on winning them to the right side, which is our side, and making sure that we don't have this anxiety, that we are not afraid. And as I just said, as we are normal people. So
talk about a few things.
Yep. So a few things we have pointed out is, for one, to introduce yourself as a Washtenaw County Democratic Party volunteer. Yes, volunteer is the key word. And you want to make sure you say, hello, I'm a Washtenaw County Democratic Party volunteer. And then we can go by, just asking, have you registered to vote? Or what kind of voter they are, would you, because my mother, she says, I don't want to vote. I want to go in and I'm going to meet my friends at the polls. And we're going to have some great conversation and I'm going to go in and I'm going to vote. And when we come out, we're still going to have some great conversation. And so we want to find out what kind of voter we have. So we're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to find out what kind of voter we have, if they're registered to vote, and we can go from there. We are going to discuss who our candidates are. That's why we have those fantastic voter guides, and it tells who we need and who we have to vote. And then we have our Michigan, our myvoter.org. We can let them know about that. We have some voters that do not like to use the internet, that do not surf on their phone. So if by chance you have your phone or your small device, you can say, well, I can just show you right now. So, those are some things that we can start with.
The other one thing I wanted to share is to put you at ease. How many people here love canvassing?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. I'm psyched to see. I'm a canvassing lover, but one thing that makes canvassing easier is actually initiating a conversation. because I find that unfortunately the scripts kind of lend itself to sort of standing there and kind of babbling and and I find that the quicker that I can actually engage with the person I'm talking with and form a connection and say, you know, do you have everything you need for voting? Do you have any questions? And that act of engaging and then having a bona fide conversation takes away my nervousness, that all of a sudden, you know, we're meeting as human beings who are trying to figure out this crazy election, you know, who are the judges who are Democrats? And often they'll share, you know, some concerns or a story, and then you can sort of empathize, connect, and share your own difficulties. I often share that, you know, before voter guides, I used to sometimes be at home at like midnight trying to figure out which judges were Democrats, you know, on the Monday before election day, you know, and they'll often share, oh man, that happens to me too, you know, and it just turns it into a conversation that's much more comfortable for all involved. And I think, do you have anything on it before we break up? Yeah, and come if you want to learn WAVE, and if you're interested in help working with Crystal and I to do voter outreach in Superior Township and other parts of the country, the county rather.
So we were talking about breaking up, and so we were going to say one group who particularly wanted to work with Sharon and Crystal. But the other thing is that Eli Nathans also is doing a slight variation on getting out the voter guide, and it's related. It's a little different. It will be using the minivan. So first of all, how many people here are in need of minivan training? Okay, so that will be with that same effort there. We'll go through the minivan, but we'll also say that for those who would like to take a little more time and do that door knocking in certain parts of Ypsi Township, but using our turfs and using the voter guides. So because there aren't any turfs in Superior because they're being mailed, you will be using different. You'll be using My Voter, the little cards. You might be carrying something about the Supreme Court. I don't know what you guys want to take, but it's going to be two separate efforts, and they have to use WAVE because we don't have turfs. Yeah. We will use minivan for Galt Village, West Willow, and those areas. Okay. And other than that, if you are not interested in knocking, but are just want to deliver guides, we have tons and tons of opportunity to just do the lit drop.
Fine. Everything. They don't know what.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll give the quick, because at some point, anybody who goes out canvassing is going to be used what we call the minivan, which is an application on your phone, which is connected to the voter activation network. So the Voter Activation Network, the VAN, is this enormous database of all the registered voters in the country. Michigan has access to all of that for Michigan. Washtenaw County has access for Washtenaw. And we use it to define the addresses among those registered voters that we want to reach. So it's like a little window into the VAN. So when you will come over afterwards and we'll look at it, we'll go through it. When you open up your account, then you will enter a list number, which is a list of anywhere from 50 to 100 addresses, which is where we would like you to leave those voter guides. And then you're just, as you go along, or even when you get home, you can mark lit drop, lit drop, lit drop. You don't have to answer any questions. It's pretty simple. If you're canvassing, there are questions to answer, but that's going to be different for yours. Yeah, yeah. If you go out with the one campaign, you have questions you have to mark off. Did they say this? Did they say that? Right? This is not. It's just, I got there. They've got their voter guide. That's all we do. Okay. And the turf is simply the division, the geographical division of the, the 15 addresses. So you'll see a little map, and then you have the whole list of exactly where.
And we have a team of volunteers that's been working very hard to make, cluster households as closely as possible. In rural areas, they're quite dispersed, but that's what a turf is sort of roughly neighboring households with Democratic voters as identified by our wonderful turf cutters that we're.
Okay. Yeah,
I've been using the one campaign and I customize my own script. But before I leave, I have to get going. Sharon, can you tell me, in the deep canvassing training, did any of the training deal with something that we're all gonna be confronted with? The first line is, I'm with the Washtenaw County Democratic Party. Okay. We don't know who's going to be at that door when we knock, who comes to the door. If a person comes to the door, hears that name, Washtenaw County Democratic Party, and then responds in a hostile way, which will happen. How does deep canvassing suggest that be handled in a constructive way? Because we will deal with it.
Yeah. We can't talk to people who don't want to talk. And deep canvassing would say basically, oh, thank you for your time. Bye. Yeah, because deep canvassing is predicated on being able to engage. And sometimes you can engage with people who are, but the other thing to know too is our voter guide and our canvassing efforts are all targeted toward people who are more than 50% likely, typically, to be a Democrat. So, and often you can engage in conversation to even have a conversation with people who are reluctant. But if someone just shuts the door in your face or refuses to engage, that's it. Just kind of wave nicely and say bye. Have a nice weekend.
Although one point though is that sometimes both of these applications should give you an idea of other people in the household. And if you suspect that there's people who might answer the door who are not democratically inclined, you might just not say exactly. I mean, you'll be wearing a volunteer button or anything, but you might present yourself as, I'm here about elections. I wanted to see, where you're at. Yeah.
The other thing to note too, I just want to put this out for people working in rural areas, that you will come across households that are split party households, where it may not be safe for a woman who's voted Dem to let her husband know. And I am super careful not to ask for people by name, and also to just, I'm sorry. And to just sometimes just say something to the effect of, we're dropping these materials to everyone in your neighborhood. So that person isn't targeted, because there are more, particularly with this election, split party households are a major reality, particularly in rural parts of the county, and we need to be very careful. Likewise, for children having Republican parents, I noticed that a lot the last cycle. So just say, oh, we just came by to, see Josh or whatever their name is or whatever, and just, move on.
Okay, here, I'm Eli Nathan. Normally I would just work with the programs committee. This year, I was concerned that the voter guide distribution seemed to not to involve a lot of interactions with the voters. That I was leaving the voter guide at houses. One, two, I read in the papers that the Trump campaign is pouring money into getting people, Republicans, to knock on doors. If any of you are really desperate, Elon Musk apparently is paying $30 an hour to go door to door to help the Republicans turn out. And it seemed to me that we needed to be more active in this regard. We needed to up our game to compete with this effort. And the theory essentially is it's about getting out the vote. Honestly, from my point of view, it's not about deep conversations. It is about a conversation, but mostly we want to ask, we'll go to neighborhoods that are 90% Democratic, and we're asking, have you registered to vote? Sometimes when people rent, they often move frequently and they've changed their address. And so they might need to file a form with the change address form so they can vote in this election. Getting people to apply for the absentee ballot. So there still is time left. It's only about a couple weeks to send in an application for an absentee ballot. The more people who vote by absentee ballot for us, the better. So that's sort of the starting point. We're focusing on the West Willow neighborhood in Ypsilanti Township, and also the Ford School neighborhood. And I've talked to Crystal. She says she'll help find some people to join this effort. If you're interested in doing this, would you please see me as soon as these presentations end? I'll be over here. I want to take down your name. It's basically going to start like today, because the next 2 weeks is really the time we need to push. Knocking on doors and trying to get people to turn out. I just think I don't want to just leave the voter guide if we have time to do some door-to-door knocking. Okay, that's my spiel.
I just want to piggyback on something that Eli said about the Republicans paying people. It's really important. That's why it's so important to say, I'm a volunteer. Whether you say with the Washington County Dems, if you don't even get that out, but I'm a volunteer. That's like super, super important. Okay. So yeah, Jeff. Oh,
Let me bring the mic.
Connected to all this. So this has to do with the Democratic Party's, Michigan Democratic Party's voter protection hotline. And maybe we can, or I'll write the number up there. It's up on the voter guide too, but everyone should have it on their phone. 833-648-6837. If you're out canvassing and somebody's having a problem voting or not sure about registering and you're not sure exactly what to tell them, you can call the hotline for them, or they can call the hotline 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Currently, it's likely to increase to weekends in the next couple weeks. So it's a resource and use it. I'm on it a fair amount. People call in. I just want everyone to know how fortunate we are to have all this material and mivoter.org. People call in from around the state and they want to know who to vote for. And we have a hell of a time helping them because most parts of the state don't have this kind of resource. The other counties aren't organized as well. So feel fortunate that we're part of Washtenaw County.
100%. Thank you, Jeff. But also now mivoter.org is a statewide resource.
But yeah, try if you know an address in Muskegon.
Correct.
Put it in and see what you get. You get the top of the ballot and nothing about the judges.
No, you get the judges. No, you all the way down to State House.
I do it all the time. I tell you.
Try it again.
It's
It's all the MDP
for
endorsements.
most of the places around the state, actually. When you put in the address, you get the statewide candidates, and that's all because the local organization doesn't have it together. It's highly variable.
Okay. All right. Karen.
Eli, forgive me if this was I came late if this was already discussed, but the Michigan One campaign and then the DNC are cutting turfs where we spend a lot of time with talking to Republicans when we could be spending more time, energizing the Democrats. And I did a little research on deep canvassing. This seems to be like what they're why we're doing this. And the turn rate is about 3 to 4%. And you have to keep coming back. It's at least 15 minutes and you have to train people to do that specifically. And I have friends who are excited. They're canvassing for the first time in their lives, sent to Republicans' doors. I've had the door shut in my face, friends yelled at, and they're never going to work for the Democrats again. So I hope you could put, why are they sending us? Now it's going to shift more to get out the vote, but it's just, this is part of the reason, why, God love the Democratic Party, but, snatching victory, snatching
Defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
But you know what, you guys, I want to say that it is, I fault nobody for being confused about the layers of the Democratic Party. Okay, there's the DNC, which we have almost nothing to do with. There's the Michigan Democratic Party, which right now is heading up the One campaign. There's the Washtenaw County Democratic Party. And the Washtenaw County Democratic Party is who we are and who we have control over. And then there are all the candidates, there's 64 endorsed candidates in Washtenaw County. So it's just important to know who you're actually dealing with. And it's hard. I get that. Oh, trust me. Trust me, Karen.
Okay,
We're
if I-
talking.
If I could just bump in for sorry,
Trust
1
me.
second.
Yeah,
So-
go.
So I have a clipboard with documents you can take with you for this kind of canvassing. As you'll see, it's not deep canvassing. It's trying to be much more efficient. Kind of, I don't run the one campaign, so our theory is a little bit different. We talk to some local elected representatives, people who have experience with this process. I'm going to call out Crystal, especially Crystal Lyte and Jeff Irwin. And this, you have to do what you feel comfortable with, but it's not trying to convince Republicans. The whole purpose is to get out the vote. I think if we, yeah, so I don't run the one campaign. I just
Right. We don't
feel
run.
this is what we need. We know enough about the area. We want to try to do this now. So I've got enough clipboards for everybody in the room, actually. So if this is all conceivable to you, come up afterwards. Let me give you a clipboard. This is the most efficient way to distribute them.
Well, and I think it's time to break into smaller groups, right? Pull chairs around and do effective conversations on doors, do this strategy and do minivan, right? Right, Janet? You're gonna huddle and teach people how to do minivan. Okay. Okay. Okay, minivan. Janet, hold up your hands. Okay. And Sharon and Crystal and Eli, where do you want to see people, Eli? Okay, okay, great. Okay, great. Letitia.
Come together to canvas as a group. What group should I be in? We're here to collect information. We're carrying it on to our team. So where should I be? We want to use minivan, but I want to effectively be able to canvas.
Well, all right. So find your group and have fun because it's fun.
You're talking to them. Go right ahead. Stand in front of the camera. And you're talking to the folks on his own.
Hi, everybody. We are going to break up into in-person training. If anybody on the Zoom group still needs to go through a minivan session, I have 2 more sessions. You can get the link through your area captain. I think that's the best thing. Ask your area captain for a link to Zoom trainings. One will be Monday evening and the other will be Thursday afternoon in this coming week. So you can get the details, please, from your area captain. We will let you go. Thanks for being here.